Have you found yourself replaying an event over and over again, thinking, what if I have done something differently? Or do you feel this sharp pain of regret, believing that you had the power to change the outcome and you did nothing about it? I want you to pen that thoughts down. I want you to drop that thoughts in the comment section as we begin. I welcome you to today's edition of The Mind's Canvas. Today we'll go further to understand or to learn the reason why pain of a loss hurts so deep and it lingers so long. Another reason why the pain of a loss can linger for a long time is what I titled, or what I call guilt. Are we together? Now, let me know if there is anything that you feel guilty about, a loss of a loved one, or a relationship, or property, or something that you feel you are responsible for. I want you to drop that in the comment section as we begin. Alright, guilt is a powerful emotion. When we experience loss, it's natural our minds begin to search for answers, sometimes even blaming ourselves. What if we have done more? What if we have done this? What if we've not done like this? Maybe by now, this person would have been here, that thing would have not have happened. Are you sure I did enough? And this guilt stems from the belief that we had control over something and we didn't do anything about it. It is tied to the human desire to fix things. The human desire to fix things, to provide solutions, to protect those we love, or to avoid mistakes. But when loss happens, guilt becomes the voice of regret, constantly replaying in our minds. What if we have done things differently? But here's the truth. Guilt magnifies the pain of loss because it traps us in the past. Instead of processing the grief, instead of focusing on the pain, we focus on things that we could have done. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of us go through pain without getting healed, even in a long period of time. So I want to share my own personal story with you. Now, I remember when my mom died, for years, I felt so guilty. I carried this guilt of her loss. I felt I let my mom die. Constantly, I'll sleep and I'll see myself dreaming of me going to the hospital where my mom was, and they told me that she was dead, and I quickly prayed for her and she came back to life. So I kept on feeling that I let my mom down. If only I had gone to the hospital that day that she died and prayed for her, she would have come back to life. I felt I didn't do enough, and that feeling kept hurting me for years. And I'm not talking about 1 year, I'm not talking about 2 years, I'm not talking about 5 years. It continued for 7 years. I kept on crying. I felt I had done the worst. Now think of your own journey. Is there a guilt you've been holding on to? Maybe about something you said or you didn't say, something you did or you didn't do. If this resonates with you, if this makes sense, if I'm speaking to you, I would love to hear about it in the comment section, or you can message me privately. Now, having done this, let's go into solutions, some practical steps on how to release this guilt feeling and get healed. So how do we release guilt and begin to heal? Here are some steps that have helped me and others, and I hope it's going to be helpful to you. Number one, I want you to acknowledge the guilt. Instead of running from it, face it. What exactly are you blaming yourself for? What exactly are you blaming yourself for? I want you to pen it down. I want you to write it down. You can drop it on the comment section along this video. Pen it down. Often bringing it to the open takes away some of its power. All right? Write it down. Now, when you write it down, now see it on the paper clearly. Put it somewhere you can see very clearly. That way it can help you. The second point is, I want you to challenge that belief, challenge that feeling. Ask yourself, did I really have control over this? Most times the answer is no. Loss often happens beyond our control. Now, the truth is this. My mom's dying, it's God's will. It has nothing to do with me. The truth is that even if I had gone to pray with her or pray for her, it's still up to God to heal. I don't have the power to bring back the dead back to life. I don't understand my point. So write a letter to yourself. This is what I want you to do. Explain to yourself what happened and be more compassionate about it. Explain the grief and tell yourself the real truth. Is there something that you would have done to have changed anything, to change that outcome? Then the third thing I want you to look at is, I want you to understand and forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. You have to understand that you are a human and you can't always know or do everything perfectly. Give yourself the grace that you will give to a friend in some situations. Stand in front of a mirror if you can and say, I forgive you. Chime, I forgive you. Call your name, I forgive you. Maybe you were not there with that loved person when the person was passing. The truth is that you never knew it would happen like that. Something got you caught up somewhere. Forgive yourself and move on. Then the last point, which I want you to also recognize, is that I want you to honor that connection. So instead of dwelling on guilt, focus on what connection you had with that person. Now, cherish the moment you had together. Just enjoy it. Admire what you had. Celebrate the loved ones and then appreciate what you have now. The loved ones, the people you have now. Create something meaningful. All right? Then seek closure. I will keep saying this. Seek closure. Look for a support group. This is what the Minds Canvas is all about. It's an online support family where you can share your thoughts, express how you feel with someone, and seek guidance, professional guidance. All right? Now, which of these steps do you feel comfortable with? I want you to drop it in the comment section or write it down somewhere as we continue. Now, as we close, I want you to understand something, that guilt is a heavy burden, but it doesn't have to define your story. You don't have to carry it forever. Remember this, you did your best and you did all the best that you could at the moment. Let it go. Healing isn't about erasing the guilt. It's about transforming it into understanding and self-compassion. Understanding that you are limited. You don't have the power. You are not all powerful. Are we together? So here is my final question for you, my dear friend. What is one thing you need to forgive yourself today? Take a moment to reflect or share it in the comment section. You might find that letting it out is the first step towards peace. Thank you for joining me today on the Minds Canvas. If this episode spoke to you, please feel free to share it with someone who might be carrying the weight of guilt. And remember that your canvas is yours to paint. Your world is yours to paint, one brush stroke at a time. Until next week, please take good care of yourself.